These are the most terrifying moments in NHL history.
Boy, that is scary. Serious. They're going to need the medical crew.
We look for any good signs we can get right now.
I really was like, holy shit, I am dying. I am dying right now.
And first, Michael Neurath had a stadium holding its breath.
Down went Michael Neuver, immediately bringing the gurney out. Entire team of doctors out, getting the best care right now that he could possibly get.
But at number 19, the pain showed no mercy, because Aaron Rome broke his face.
Down on the ice now, it's Horton.
Aaron Rome comes up and just delivers a crushing open ice hit.
Nathan Horton is in some serious trouble right now.
We look for any good signs we can get right now.
That was terrifying. But look, for number 18, John Tavares went full speed into a blackout.
Wasn't a hit for Tavares, knocked down by Sherratt, and Tavares is hurt.
He got kicked right in the face by Perry, unintentional. The hit was right to the head. Oh boy, that is scary.
Serious. They're going to need the medical crew, and the officials now are calling for that right away.
But that's not the only terrifying moment, because at number 17, Max Pacioretty got twisted like a spaghetti noodle.
Zone. Oh, Pacioretty is down face first as Chara angled him, and Pacioretty was lined up against the center glass between the two benches.
Max woke up to a fractured vertebrae. But for number 16, Rich Peverly didn't make it to the ice before he collapsed.
And something's happening at the Dallas bench. The team bench was trying to get the attention of emergency medical personnel. It is pandemonium and panic over there.
An irregular heartbeat ended his career right there. But even a misstep can end in terror. Because at number 15, Ryan Johnson lost control and went headfirst into a wreck.
There, he got tripped up and Johnson hard into the corner. It was an awkward, ugly, painful-looking collision as Ryan Johnson lost an edge.
Man, that shit was hard to look at. But for number 14, a teammate's frustration wreaked havoc because Keith Ballard started swinging at his own goalie.
What happened there after the play?
Matt, I think he hit his goaltender in the head.
Oh, boy.
Dude sliced his own goalie open. But for number 13, the cuts went even deeper. I mean, Evander Kane was inches away from having an artery severed.
Kane went down awkwardly on that left elbow.
Yeah, he's cut.
Oh. And you can see he does a good job putting pressure in.
Dude almost lost his hand. But imagine losing your foot. Because at number 12, Erik Karlsson suffered an injury straight out of a horror movie.
Erik Karlsson's been banged up.
Oh.
He's really hurting, too.
Yeah, he's really hurting. I don't know if it's his knee or his ankle, but he's really.
As soon as he put weight on it, Bob, he just winced in pain.
And he just threw a stick.
70% of his Achilles gone in the blink of an eye. But for number 11, the brutality came even faster because Trent McCleary risked his life.
McCleary just blocked the shot by Therrien, and that stings. And you can see the pain he is in right now.
A fractured throat left him fighting for his life. But look, Adam Burish was nearly decapitated.
Hits Burish across the neck, slight cut. Obviously could have been a lot worse.
I for sure thought it was all over. But for number 9, Duncan Keith lost all his teeth. Look, the Blackhawks were one win away from the 2010 Stanley Cup Finals when Duncan Keith's mouth exploded.
When there you see it hit Duncan Keith. He got mouthpiece flying, teeth flying.
This dude skated to the bench, spit out his teeth like they were sunflower seeds, and hopped back on the ice like nothing happened. And that sacrifice earned him a Stanley Cup in one of the most iconic injuries in NHL history.
Who knows a good dentist, by the way?
Hockey can really leave you looking like a mummy, because the player at number 8 had his eye hanging by a thread. Look, Berard was supposed to be the NHL's next big thing, but one night, a puck to the face had him thinking his vision was gone forever.
Tried to clear the rebound. And a high stick caught Berard.
Boy,
He's down.
This is going to be a problem.
His severely detached retina left his blood spilling. The future of his career looked blurry. His vision was shot. But even though his eyes weren't exactly NHL material anymore, Berard wasn't having it, because he dominated for another 10 years with one eye. But number 7 was almost an attempted murder. See, Marty McSorley and Donald Brashear's rivalry turned into the biggest court case in NHL history. Now, McSorley was the GOAT of tough guys. And I mean, he made sure no one laid a finger on Wayne Gretzky.
Here's the ladder play. McSorley stepping up with Tkachuk. Marty has one thing on his mind: retaliate for the hit that Tkachuk put on Gretzky.
That attitude earned him almost 4,000 penalty minutes, and that's 5th all time. He bullied everyone until he met a guy who wasn't scared to throw punches. Because Donald Brashear was a rising star enforcer who was looking for some smoke just like McSorley. And every time they went head-to-head, Brashear slapped McSorley around like the old man he was. It was getting embarrassing. And when they met on their infamous night in 2000, McSorley caught another L.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that is right. Brashear, a very strong individual.
Just imagine losing 6 straight fights to the same guy. And the Bruins coach told him he needed to tough it up again. So with that fire in his belly, McSorley delivered a blow that would change everything.
Oh, McSorley slashed Brashear and caught him in the helmet.
Brashear convulsed with a grade 3 concussion on the cold ice until he was rushed to the hospital. So McSorley begged for his mercy.
It's special to play in the NHL and go and do something like that. I didn't mean to. That's not what I had intended to do. I wanted to go fight.
NHL players and fans almost witnessed a murder, so McSorley became the most wanted man in the nation. See, the assault went all the way to the Canadian court, where McSorley was proved to be a criminal. An 18-month probation sentence and a year-long ban was his final act in the league. But look, at number 6, that margin between life and death was even thinner, because Richard Zednik faced one of the most terrifying moments in NHL history.
By Jokinen on MacArthur. Oh boy, Zednik, oh my goodness.
Oh my God, he's bleeding bad.
Richard Zednik is cut wide open. Oh my God. Oh folks, this is ugly. Richard Zednik is cut wide open.
You know what?
It's his neck. They've got a towel on his neck. Dave Zanobi, the trainer, and they're getting him right into the dressing room.
Zednik clipped an artery, and in a matter of seconds, it was life or death. But his surgery was nothing short of a miracle, and his teammates were shaken for life.
Fell down and I guess my skate hit in the throw, you know.
How scary was that for you? When you first
Well, what do you think? What kind of question is that?
When I first saw it, it was, sort of utter disbelief that, he was coming towards the bench and a trail of, thick blood behind him, and I couldn't, really realize at the moment, how bad it was, and kind of just shocked.
He cheated death. But these next two weren't so lucky at number 5. See, Danny Heatley was one of the most electrifying young players in the league. But in 2003, everything changed in an instant. As Heatley decided to take Dan Schneider's Ferrari 360 Modena for a spin, they were flying through the streets of Atlanta at 80 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. And then suddenly, Heatley lost control. The car spun out, slammed into a brick pillar, and split in half on impact. Heatley, he got lucky. A broken jaw, concussion, torn ACL and MCL. That was the extent of his injuries. But Dan Schneider's fate was catastrophic. Skull fractures, a coma, and 6 days later, Dan Schneider passed away. Once the face of the Thrashers, Heatley was now facing criminal charges. He eventually pled guilty to 2nd-degree vehicular homicide, but Schneider's family showed mercy. So Heatley went on to have a successful career, but the shadow of that accident never left him. Because at number 4, the city of Vancouver created the most dangerous environments in hockey history. See, losing a championship is rough, but Vancouver took it to another level. It was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, with the Canucks on the brink of history. Fans packed the city streets, hoping to witness Vancouver's first ever Stanley Cup championship. But when the Canucks got smoked 4-0, things got ugly. And I'm not talking about just on the ice, because the moment the final buzzer sounded, chaos of thousands of furious fans turned downtown Vancouver into a war zone. Cars were flipped and set on fire, storefronts were smashed and looted, and fights broke out everywhere.
But while police were once again overwhelmed by drunk, violent crowds, this time there was a big difference in bringing rioters to justice.
The riot got so out of control that police had to deploy tear gas, flash bombs, and riot squads just to regain control of the city. By the time the smoke cleared, over 140 people were injured, which included 9 police officers, while the city had suffered millions of dollars in damages.
It's hard to explain what happens when people get into a crowd mentality. And some of these rioters told us, I got caught up in the moment.
All of that over a hockey game. But now, in 2004, the matchup between the Canucks and the Avalanche wasn't just any game, because there was beef to settle. Now, 2 weeks earlier, Colorado's Steve Moore took down Vancouver's captain, Marcus Naslund, laying him out cold.
Center. Naslund, and they go after Moore.
Call it the mile-high hit that led to the mile-high madness that will undoubtedly put more edge into an already heated rivalry.
Dude got dropped with a concussion, so Vancouver needed revenge. But Bertuzzi took things from payback to pure madness. See, with Vancouver already down 8-2, Bertuzzi hunted Moore down into a catastrophe. Full-grown men were on top of Moore's 3 fractured vertebrae. His career ended right there in that pool of blood. So the NHL banned Bertuzzi for 17 months, while he pleaded guilty to criminal charges for assault, and it lives as a brutal reminder of what happens when revenge crosses the line. But the tragedy at number 2 changed the NHL forever. We gotta talk about the most devastating year the NHL has ever suffered. Now, it's a hockey player's job to fight, but the battles we don't see, those are way tougher. In the late 2000s, the NHL was full of enforcers, guys whose entire job was to drop the gloves, throw hands, and protect their teammates. And 3 of the most fearless in the game were Rick Rippon, Derek Boogaard, and Wade Belak. But by 2011, their tragedies changed mental health in the NHL. First, it was Derek Boogaard, a 6'7" wrecking machine who was one of the most feared fighters in the league. But after suffering multiple concussions dating back to when he was 16, he became addicted to painkillers. And after a night out, he went to sleep into his death.
Friends noticed he was acting strangely and took him back to his apartment.
He was kind of bouncing around, and I kept thinking, okay, I'll put him to bed. He's had a bit to drink. As soon as he goes to bed, we'll be fine.
My younger brother said, Derek was hungover and had been drinking all night. I looked and it didn't look right. His chest wasn't moving. Aaron went around to the other side of the bed.
Boogaard had died in his sleep. The medical examiner concluded that a lethal mix of oxycodone and alcohol overwhelmed Boogaard's system.
The news was heartbreaking, and after his brain was studied, it was easy to tell he was suffering from brain illness.
McKee was shocked to find clusters of a brain protein that could bring on dementia in people in their 40s or 50s. These areas appear as a brown stain.
This is substantial destruction. It's in small areas of the brain. It isn't affecting the entire brain, but in those areas, there's a lot of damage.
And that was just one blow, because just 3 months later, tragedy struck again. See, Rick Rippon, a relentless enforcer for the Vancouver Canucks, had been struggling with depression for years. But at just 27 years old, he had taken his own life.
Rippon was found dead by a family member at his home in Coleman, Alberta.
Rick wanted to talk about mental health so many times, but it never felt like the right time.
This past summer, the Canucks lost a valuable member of their family, Rick Rippon. He truly had the heart of a Canuck.
And then, only a month later, another devastating blow. See, Wade Belak got paid to be an enforcer, but after a while, it became his suffering.
He didn't love it, but he knew it, and he was fine with it because he wanted to stay up in the NHL and have this career.
And it wasn't long before he was discovered in the Toronto hotel room, gone. But on number 1, Clint Malarchuk endured the most terrifying moment ever witnessed in the history of hockey. See, Clint Malarchuk was a goalie when he was hit by a player's skate that slit his throat. Everyone froze as they were about to witness a bloody death. With his blood skirting all over the place, Malarchuk prepared for his final moments.
I get a skate. And it's not important how it happened or anything, but what's important is the blood squirted probably 6 feet. And I knew.
Right from your neck.
Yep, cut the jugular, and I knew this is bad. I've got maybe 2 or 3 minutes here. I really was like, holy sh*, I'm dying. I am dying right now. So mentally, I prepared for death. And this is where the PTSD comes in. So I'm preparing for death. Terry Gregson was referee. His eyes are big. Players are looking at me. Everybody's looking at me. And I'm going, when you prepare for death, certain things go through your mind. You pray. Well, I prayed. Man, I've got 2 minutes to repent. That's not long enough. I need a couple hours here. So the game is on TV. I knew my mom was watching the game, and I thought, oh, shit.
Malarchuk was stabilized and made it to the hospital, where an emergency surgery saved his life. And after he was preparing for his funeral, he was back on the ice 10 days later. Dude was looking like an Iron Man, but it wasn't long before that night brought back demons.
It was getting to the point where the nightmares were the worst. I started to have flashbacks. I'd be sound asleep and I'd see that skate come up, and I'd wake straight up in bed. Just like the actors on TV, like Bradley Cooper, except I'm better looking. But I was reliving it. It wasn't just a bad dream. My heart was pounding, perspiration. I was clawing at my neck, trying to stop the bleeding. And I did this for 10 days suffering in silence.
Those ghosts haunted him into retirement. Hockey isn't just home to some of the most terrifying moments in sports. It's witnessed some of the most horrific tragedies in life, period.